Okay, ladies and gentlemen, time for one story. I'm all the way here at Tunnel Springs, so I might as well tell one more story. But quickly, this is the scenery I'm seeing right now. Beautiful, clear day after more rain in the last couple of weeks than we've had all summer. This has been a pleasant surprise. My grass is loving it. It's coming back to life. Oh my heavens. Back in Ohio, when we lived in Ohio, that's seemed to become a yearly thing. It rains like the dickens over there, but in the heat of the summer, in the middle of the summer, there are spells where it doesn't rain very much. And very few people seem to water their lawn because most of the year there's plenty of moisture. So the lawns would go to brown for a short period in the summer. Oh my heavens. Brown out. And then the long awaited rain would come and just make everything green again. Oh my heavens. And the golf courses in Ohio. And right near our house, we were in Dublin, but I worked in Marysville, and the outskirts of Marysville, in between Dublin and Marysville, was Scott's Lawn headquarters. And oh my heavens, what do they have a wonderful, on their headquarters, a big, beautiful lawn. And there were some of the most beautiful golf courses I've ever seen there, thanks to that rain. Okay, so here's my second story. I used to be a flight attendant for Delta Airlines about 10 years, and then COVID came, and I took an early buyout, and I'm glad I did because while it was a fun job, and perhaps my funnest job ever, after 10 years, man, starts to drag on you. But okay, quick story. So I used to fly mainly the flights between Japan and the US, and this seemed to be a common theme about a lot of people who were non-native English speakers. Their mom and dad would be there. They have a small child, maybe 5 or more, or they were anxious for that child to get some experience speaking English. So I go, oh yeah, it's drink time. Can I get you something to drink? And almost invariably, the parents would avoid speaking for their child. And they would make me speak to their child, okay? And inevitably, well, what do you have? Or something like that. And, we've got like 100, counting alcohol and sodas and everything, probably 100 choices, right? And I felt like saying, just check the in-flight magazine or just tell me what you want and I'll tell you if we don't have it or not. I used to get some interesting requests. Do you have guava juice? This is not a Hawaiian flight, but no, I do not have guava juice. And sometimes I would get sucked into listing off the 100 items or not, and invariably, it seemed, after listing off all those things, looking at my watch, I've got 200 more passengers here that on my side of the aisle, just on my side of the aisle that I'm waiting to get to. Okay, I'll list them off, 100 of them. Invariably, it was it. I'll just take water. Whoa. So, but just a little bit of just because I know the Japanese culture better, but I'll just tell you a little bit more detail about some of the Japanese parents. But they're so proud that their kids speaking to a, Native American and speaking English or something. And then if I couldn't communicate, they would jump in and talk to their child, not to me. Talk to the child. Jun-chan, nani nomu? Orange juice nomu? Apple juice nomu? Start listening off, and I go, oh my heavens! I'd look at my watch and I think to myself, I try not to be rude, but think to myself, lady, I've got 200 more passengers here. We don't have time for this. I understand your kids are cute. Okay, and then one last bit. For some of the Japanese passengers who fancy themselves a pretty good English speaker, oh my heavens. Okay, so in Japanese, Coke is typically referred to as just a cola drink. So it's cola kudasai. Just give me a cola. But for those who are familiar with America, they know, hey, a real American says the word Coke. Give me a Coke. However, with a Japanese accent, that would be Coke, Coke. And then the word for coffee in Japanese is kohi, kohi. So sometimes I would just be perplexed because they would say, I couldn't tell which they were saying, and I didn't have the heart to kind of deflate their ego by saying, I'm sorry, I cannot understand what you're saying. Is it Coke or is it coffee? Kohi. They'd punch the ko on the coffee for some reason, thinking they were saying Coke, maybe, I don't know. Punch the ko, kohi, or punch the ko on Coke, Coke. And it almost sounds exactly the same to me. Kohi, Coke, kohi, Coke. I'm sorry. Which is it? You got to tell me. Do you want a Coke or do you want a coffee? And my kids get a kick out of that story, and I've told it in a kind of a dinner party setting when it got a big laugh. my flight attendant stories, and then some there's a lot of stories. Some I couldn't tell in polite company. Oh boy, some experiences that curdle your blood. No, but so anyways, it was probably the funnest job I've ever had, but I was tired of it, and I was glad to get out of it. There's only so much difficult customers you can take before you have to say, I'm throwing in the towel. But anyways, that's my story. And how long did I take to say it? I can't tell, but it looks like I'm under 10 minutes. That's a good point to stop. Okay, thank you for listening. Bye-bye.